Well, hello, everyone.
Hello, hello, hello.
Happy Thursday. It is not Wednesday, but it is the finale of the Real Football Fans of New Jersey. So obviously on my camera, I've got my glass is shard here, but
Okay.
I did pour a little bubbly to cheers out there. She's got it too. This was not planned. This is not planned, but I did just to start the show. Big cheers to Katie, to everything that we've done for the last, over 5 years at this point, which
Yes.
is absolutely insane. We made it to 2023. We have a hell of a run. We still got one more episode left for you guys, so don't you worry. But let's start it off with a big old cheers and cheers to us. This was
virtual clink.
clink, clink, clink. So much fun. All righty. Let's get down to the business. And I think I am seeing right now that yes, I'm seeing that my aunt is watching live. It's actually her birthday. So I wanted to say happy birthday to my Aunt Beth. Her and my Uncle Rudy actually came to our 200th episode. Yes. So they are big fans of the Real Football Fans in New Jersey. So happy birthday, Aunt Beth. I love you. And thank you for being a huge supporter over the last 5 years. So
happy birthday.
Let's go ahead and get into it. So for our last episode, we asked you guys to send away your questions because you're not going to be able to ask us your questions any longer. No, you can always ask us questions.
Slide into the DMs.
We're always here to talk all things football. Oh, my aunt gave a little hearts there. So yes, hearts around. All right, so the first question that we got from you guys is, do you think Rex Ryan can still be a defensive coordinator in the NFL? So obviously rumors swirling around over the last couple of days, mainly today, that maybe Sean Payton's going to bring him over to Denver. So Katie, what are your thoughts on Rex Ryan making his return to the coaching world?
I don't love it. I don't hate it. I'm a little bit indifferent to it. Obviously, he's been spending his time doing broadcasting ever since he, left the league. I don't even remember when that was. It feels like he's been broadcasting for a while now.
Right.
But in that broadcasting world, he's still staying obviously very in tune with football and what's going on in the league and everything like that. So I do believe he could go back and find success, not as a head coach, obviously. Yeah. I think that ship has kind of sailed. We saw him have his chance at that. And some guys I just really think are meant for the coordinator positions and not the head coaching positions. And I feel like Rex and his brother kind of fall into that mix as both as defensive coordinators. And funny enough, his brother was Sean Payton's defensive coordinator for a good time there in New Orleans. So, a familiar relationship. And I could see it being a good, fun, exciting pairing for the Denver franchise. I think people would really get excited about it. So we'll see. I think he could still manage out there as a DC.
Yeah, I think he definitely can too. I'm on the same boat as you. Don't love it, don't hate it. I think it is pretty much it is. He can hold his own. I think back to the Jets when they were kind of back in the conversation. Rex Ryan was in the picture, so I mean, he's brought success to a couple of towns here. I think that my only asterisk is, I guess, the team and the landing over in Denver with Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. Let's just not try to pull in someone you had your big name last year with Russell Wilson. Now you got Sean Payton. Don't just try to pull in another big name to where it's I don't want them covering up this wound with these flashy, showy things. Really get down to business. Do I trust Sean Payton that he will make decisions to really unify people around him? Absolutely. So, but just saying, let's look at all the options here.
Yeah. And it's funny you put it that way because when I was explaining my reason saying oh yeah, people would get excited, but you're totally right. People were excited about the name of Russell Wilson, excited about Sean Payton, potentially excited about Rex Ryan. That doesn't mean that these big names necessarily pan out always. So obviously they learned that the hard way this past season. But we'll see. It'll be very interesting.
All right, we did get a comment instead of a question, but we did get a little comment that shout out to us. Love you, ladies. Katie is from your husband, Frank. We love you too, Frank. Thank you for your support. Obviously, this has been a huge, huge time for us for a while. So he's been a part of this entire journey. So
Yeah. I mean, bless his heart. I don't know if anybody ever hears him, but he sneaks in about mid-episode from the gym and starts cooking my dinner. So thank you for always having a warm meal for me after every Wednesday night show.
It may be a 9 p.m. dinner, but it is always there and it's warm. And I've started hearing it and clicking when he gets home, but I don't think the audience knows.
Okay,
I don't think they know. All right. So with our time being on the show, what is our the most standout moment with the New York Giants, whether it's a good or a bad thing? What is that for you, Katie?
Well, I mean, obviously,
there's a lot
over the course of 5 years, there weren't many playoff moments. Obviously, we got to enjoy it this season. So I'm going to go with what was the most emotional moment for me over the course of this show. And that, of course, was the retirement of Eli Manning. And just I think we obviously knew starting the show back in December of 2017 that, if our show continued, if this podcast continued, there was going to be a time and place where we were going to have to come on here and accept that he was no longer going to be playing for the New York Giants in the National Football League. So I remember how overwhelming that was. I remember just being devastated, even though we knew it had to happen. But, we absolutely love Eli so much. And he's my number one, not only my number one New York Giant, but my number one celebrity. Eli Manning is it for me. So that to me would be the most memorable moment over the course of this show.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that one because I think it kind of hits on both areas too, the good and the bad. And I wouldn't even call it bad. It was sad, you know what I mean? But it gave us the time to reflect on him. And I don't know how many times in 5 years of over 200 episodes, we've brought up how fortunate we are as fans to have a quarterback for 16 seasons, to never get injured. And every other week we're coming on the show and we're talking about the latest quarterback drama. We're talking about the latest quarterback injuries. And we just sat pretty for 16 seasons and really freaking enjoyed it. So I think it was definitely sad. It wasn't a huge shock factor. We were kind of pushed into it and knew it was going to happen. Very emotional, though. I do remember talking about it on the show prior to the actual day he was going to retire on national television, to after that when we talked about it again. I know they were both very emotional episodes. And just trying to get through them and not get choked up because, Eli was just such a huge part to both of our lives as New York Giants fans, as much to just the general football fan, you know what I mean? Just, because we look back, I think I saw the graphic right after Tom Brady just retired again recently, the quarterbacks you grew up with are no longer there. And it was just showing all the guys. And it's just wow, we are getting old.
Over the course of this show, we saw that wave of quarterbacks that, like you said, we grew up with make their exits. And, who's left? Just Aaron Rodgers, really?
Right. I mean, how much longer is that really going to be?
But we've seen everybody: Phillip Rivers, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Eli.
Yeah.
I was Peyton during this show. I
don't think Peyton was on our show.
I don't know, but it just feels Ben Roethlisberger.
Yep.
It was crazy to see how the quarterback position changed over this and what that looks like from when we started until now. It is just a different position. And it's we have Daniel Jones who can run the ball and Eli who couldn't. And that's the quarterback you need now in the league. So it's pretty fascinating when you look at it.
Well, I always go back to our first episode where we talked about Patrick Mahomes going in for Alex Smith. They basically made that decision. Kansas City wasn't going anywhere, and they made that decision for the final games. Yeah. That was our first topic of conversation. And it was pretty much everyone was on both sides of it. And now here we are with your Super Bowl MVP, and we're going to get into it a little bit. Yeah. It's really crazy how, like you said, how much has changed in a 5-year span.
Yeah.
All right. So with the show coming to the end, will there be any housewife franchises that you don't actually watch? So it's a good question because we did a lot of homework for this show.
Yeah,
There was
yeah.
definitely I mean, there's definitely franchises we didn't like watch if we didn't have to or need to, but we definitely did our homework on a lot of
Mhm.
them.
We were so excited to like have a new franchise and really give Dubai like
Mhm.
such a chance, and like we like just so gung ho about embracing it and having like a new franchise to talk about on the show.
Right.
We recently talked on here about how like we just couldn't make it through. Like we couldn't finish season 1. I don't
Yeah.
even know if I made it halfway through. Um, Dubai is not going to be one that I continue from here on out. And I feel like we honestly, we're leaving our show, not knowing really and truly the status of like what will be with Roni.
Right.
Salt Lake City, I felt like season 3 dipped off a bit. We're losing Jen Shaw. Like I feel like that future is dicey. And to be honest, I could sit here and say that I feel like New Jersey is the only franchise in my mind that I know I will continue to
Yeah.
watch. The other ones are like a maybe for me. But New Jersey has just been, keeping
Mhm.
it steady and almost getting better and better as the seasons go on. So
Yeah.
definitely I will stick with New Jersey, and the other ones, we're going to have to see.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that one. Dubai is definitely out the door. I'm not going to pick that up. I could probably confidently say I'm not going to watch the reboot of New York. I don't think I
Okay.
want to. It's just at this
Yeah.
point, like we would have done it for the show, and like we would have definitely given
Yeah.
you guys
Yeah.
like the dirty deets. I just don't know if I don't know. I feel like with Dubai sucking, and then Salt Lake City kind of going, like you said, meh near the end. How much can you really trust a new look on things there?
It's gonna be hard to like embrace the new Roni women when we never wanted to say goodbye to
Right.
to the old ones.
Yeah.
And sure, like maybe this legacy show will happen, maybe it won't. I have no idea at this point, but
Yeah.
I like agree with you. Like I feel like I would watch the new Roni with the new women. And if like episode 1, 2, 3, I was just like, like it's gonna be
It's
done for
just
me.
out the door. Yeah, and I think that'll be definitely a similar trend with like anything that we're getting from, the housewives world you know, over the next couple of months and everything like that. So we'll see. So I mean, Jersey and Beverly Hills, I'm gonna stick to, of course, for sure. I mean, Jersey's already off to hot start. Love it. And then Beverly Hills, I loved it last season because it's back. So I'd love to get more of that for sure.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
All righty. Well, those were our questions. We are obviously live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So if you have any questions for us, again, this is the final countdown. Go ahead and get your question, comments. Honestly, if you guys just want to tell us for the next hour that you love us so much, that's fine. You can just send those in too.
Yes, definitely. But let's get into the big stories of the week in the world of football. We have NFL quick hot topics for you. And the first topic we want to talk about, of course, we've been doing this every single week now for the last couple of weeks, giving you the latest updates on the NFL coaching tracker. So we officially do not have any more head coach openings. We have filled them all.
Filled
It is
them.
Enzo. Arizona Cardinals, they hired Philadelphia Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon to be their new head coach. He is 40 years old, but he has been coaching in the NFL since 2007 with 6 different teams during that span. Now, the Indianapolis Colts hired Philadelphia offensive coordinator Shane Steichen as their new head coach. So Philly is going to be out there looking for coordinators, interviewing people. Maybe they can keep people that are in house. We will see, but those are 2, big holes that they're going to have to fill. So Shane Steichen is 37 years old, and yet at 37 still has an 11-year NFL coaching career under his belt. And he was previously also the Los Angeles Chargers offensive coordinator. So he's obviously had much success, even just at 37 years old.
Right.
And both of these guys are going to get their crack at the head coaching position for the very first time.
We'll see.
We will see. Baltimore hired Todd Monken as their new offensive coordinator, and Houston hired Bobby Slowick to be their offensive coordinators.
Yeah, I like the Baltimore hire, the guy from Georgia. I think clearly we've seen a dominant UGA team for a couple of years. So, but again, though, it's even that transition, Katie, from coordinator to head coach, college to NFL sometimes. Even if you're going back for it, yep. So we'll definitely see. But I actually do. I like that hire. So
well, let's end this coaching tracker update by saying thank you, God, that the New York Giants will get to keep Wink Martindale and Mike Kafka.
I know. I know.
Obviously, they were both undergoing interviews with various teams for their head coaching positions. And I'm very happy that they will be staying put. I think that is huge for Daniel Jones. It's huge for the New York Giants. I am ecstatic about it.
Yeah, just keeping everything together and not like trying to bring in something new. Like, I think the Giants kind of need that. It's been a rough couple of years of, not even just finding a head coach. Like, we've been around the block with coordinators as well. So
that's what I was going to say. Like, it's been hard enough, especially for, like, for example, Daniel Jones. Like, he's had to, like, learn new offenses, work with new coaches almost every season of his young career. And to finally have some stability, like, that is what this team needs. So yes, it's not that I didn't want, Wink and Kafka to have their time in the sun and their moment and their big hire, but we need them. So I'm very happy they're coming back.
Your time in the sun will be with us. We're going to win the Super Bowl next year. You're fine. Like, you'll get it there. Like,
all right. Well, in other big football news on Tuesday, as this was expected, the Las Vegas Raiders released quarterback Derek Carr after 9 seasons. I was like, oh my God, it's been 9 seasons.
I know.
That number like threw me off. Like,
I know.
Wow. He's becoming a veteran quarterback in the league. So he will now become a free agent for the first time in his career. This was expected, as I said, but Carr did inform Las Vegas that he would not accept a trade. And he specifically had a no trade clause in his contract that he had signed last April. So they ended up releasing him. NFL.com has already been quick to put out content pegging 4 potential landing spots for him, including the New York Jets, the New Orleans Saints, the Carolina Panthers, and the Tennessee Titans. Caitlin, are any of these teams jumping out at you where you feel like maybe this would be a landing spot for him?
Yeah, so I think the top runner for me here, the front runner for me, is the Saints. They were the ones to actually contact him to where he said, listen, I'm not
get a trade.
Yeah. And he was like, I'm not going to be traded. So they're clearly showing interest. I don't see him coming to New York. I know we discussed this briefly 2 episodes ago, the Jets quarterback situation right now, which is, I don't think any scenario for them in 2023 is going to be a good one. But I don't think Derek Carr is a cold weather quarterback. I don't think he's going to come here. It's definitely not up, but I don't know. I think the Titans are fine with Malik Willis. You got to move forward with that. And then what's the other
Matt Corrals in Carolina?
I think the Saints. That's my front runner, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the Jets. I hear what you're saying about the cold weather, but like, I hate that like phrase and that like sentiment. It's like, put your big boy pants on and go play football. Like,
I agree.
Get dirty, get your hands in the mud. Like,
right. I think Derek Carr like is that guy though. That's like, I don't know. I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I agree with you. Like, yeah, suck it up. Go get paid in New York. Like, and they'll pay him.
I think this could be the best option for the Jets. So maybe if they throw, the right amount of money at him.
They will throw him money. They are throwing money.
I'm thinking too about like the free agent quarterbacks, and this is not the year to get one. And the top one is Lamar Jackson, and he's going to be going back. Like, I assume so, going to be going back to Baltimore. Daniel Jones, I assume he's going to be going back to the New York Giants. Geno Smith, I believe he's going to stick with the Seattle Seahawks. Like, there's really nothing to pull at. So if I were the Jets, and it sounds like based on comments they've made this already this offseason, it sounds like they want a veteran and they don't want to go through the draft. And so I think they're going to have to like lay out all their cards and try to get Derek Carr.
Right. All right. Well, we will see. It'll
be interesting. Free agency is always just the most wild time ever.
It is. It's chaos. You just open your phone or like have your like NFL alerts on, and it's just like pure and utter chaos.
I'm just like doing this show for the last 5 years. Like, you guys, like when it's free agency time and we're trying to keep you as updated as possible. It's like, thank God Caitlin and I are like on Instagram every 5 seconds.
Right.
It's like, that's what happens. It's just crazy.
Yeah. You just have to constantly keep refreshing your feed. So it's gonna be another one, crazy one for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, another crazy one for sure. Super Bowl 57. Let's do a recap. First and foremost, though, I mean, thank the NFL gods for a good game. But also,
I thought you were going to say for the Chiefs.
No, I was doing a two-parter.
Okay.
Thank you for a good game, but thank you also for the game ending the way we needed it.
I keep laughing because everyone's like, it was a good game, and then the Chiefs won, so it was good. I was like, yeah, I hear you, but I still would have much rather preferred like a 50-0 blowout. I still would that over.
If it was 50-0 at halftime, I would have easily gotten into bed, gotten real cozy, and zonked out completely. The fact that I had to stay up until like 11 o'clock at night on a Sunday, I'm not happy about it. But we stayed up and we came out with the victory we wanted. So let's go over this real quick with a recap. Quarterback Patrick Mahomes threw for 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns, and kicker Harrison Butker kicked a 20-yard field goal with 8 seconds left to give that Chiefs that Super Bowl victory of 38-35. It is Kansas City's second Super Bowl win in the past 4 years. So, I mean, lucky. I can imagine. Like, it's just so great. 2 out of 4. And Patrick Mahomes is your Super Bowl MVP. So this is his second time winning that award. Pretty much a no-brainer there.
And we did have the NFL honors this past week where he also won league MVP. So hell of a year for him.
Absolutely. So listen, Kansas City did come back though. They were 10 points behind in the fourth quarter, and they were also down 24-14 at halftime. So quarterback Jalen Hurts broke the Super Bowl rushing record for a quarterback with 70 yards. I'm not surprised. We both called that he was going to use his legs. He had to use
we
his
both
legs.
predicted he was going to be the lead rusher of the game.
Yeah. I really liked how he played in this Super Bowl. I think a lot of people were mentioning, it was an outstanding job for him to go back, for people to say, you know, he's had a quiet playoff so far.
I
know, but a lot of other people too. And then people being like, oh, it's his first Super Bowl. He's probably going to shit the bed like young quarterback. No,
occasion.
Listen, if you told me he was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, like Patrick Mahomes winning, I would believe you if I didn't know the single thing about football. So really good game from Jalen Hurts there. Yeah. Also, too, became the first quarterback to rush for 3 touchdowns and first to throw for a touchdown and run for 2 or more. So really good numbers here.
Perfect example, though, of what we said at the beginning of the show of what the quarterback in today's National Football League needs to look like in order to be successful. So
So, you know, I think of guys like Mac Jones. There are a couple of other examples, like there's movement, but not that much movement. So, you know, how much is that going to impact them? All right. So also Philly wide receivers A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith combined for 196 receiving yards and a touchdown. Kansas City was also helped by running back Isaiah Pacheco, 76 rush yards and 1 touchdown, and tight end Travis Kelce, 81 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. And listen, offensive line, props here, held the Philadelphia pass rush to 0 sacks. That was something that I was watching a lot of videos from the parade, and that's what a lot of the guys were chanting on the float. And like, yes, that is unbelievable.
We talk about MVP predictions, right? You could have given it to the whole offensive line. Nobody was able to stop.
And it's Philadelphia's defense
all year. And to do it in the biggest moment, the biggest stage to help your team win, I mean, that was honestly probably one of, if not the key factor.
That is understanding the assignment. You were given everything on Philly this entire season. You were given their playoff, run so far. The Kansas City Chiefs offensive line studied that and said, listen, it's really a no-brainer for us. We need to stop it. And they did.
If somebody had put a bet on 0 sacks from Philadelphia's defense, they would probably win a lot of money. So
should have. These random things you got to start putting money on. All right. So, in what was predicted to be a close game, Philadelphia and Kansas City had the third highest scoring Super Bowl, and Philadelphia scored the most points by a losing team. So they hit I think everyone predicted the under, and they were over at that point. It was like 50 and a half points, I think. So
I was under. I had like 28-24.
Yeah.
But I also feel like this too is something that's changed a little bit since like the beginning of our show, is that it's just like a high-powered offensive league. Like it clearly, probably a couple seasons before our show started, really became a passing league. But even now more than ever, like even with having quarterbacks that run the ball, it's just like, it's expected that your top tier quarterbacks go out there and throw for 300 plus. Yeah. And, we expect to see these high scoring games, even in a game like the Super Bowl. So it was a good one. I didn't expect that many points, but
no, for
people who didn't have a horse in the race or didn't care, whatever, like, yes, you got an amazing Super Bowl game, and 38-35. I mean, I think a lot of people did predict that it would be a very close game. So it delivered.
Yeah, it definitely did. But it was one of those games too. And I didn't mind the halftime show. I like Rihanna a lot, and I thought she did a good job.
I didn't catch any of it.
Oh, it was good. I thought it was good. She's pregnant. She did a great job.
Found out. So the internet told me.
Yeah. It was one of those halftime shows though that felt like it was lasting so long because I just wanted to get back to the game. Yeah. I was like, it was such a close game. Like, let's go. And so like nothing against her. And I gotta tell you, I thought the commercials sucked this year. There was nothing good.
Sucked for the last however many years.
I know. We got to get some
good.
Better commercials, people. The only good one was that, I don't know if you saw the farmer's dog commercial.
Yeah, I saw that.
Sobbing. My whole family was over and we were like, no, don't do this, guys. But yeah, so.
Great Super Bowl, great NFL season.
Honestly. Really great season.
I'm ready to start the next one already.
I am. I don't know.
Like, can we do our fantasy football drafts? Can we let's just tomorrow, let's do the NFL draft. Let's do free agency the next week, and then let's do our fantasy football draft. Let's just get right into it.
They don't need this many months off. Come on. You could start in the spring. You guys you're taking way too much rest time. We need it. So I know our first Sunday off this weekend. I'm actually going wine tasting. So very on brand. But it's going to be weird without football.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely. All right. Well, let's get into the big stories of the week in the world of housewives. And we actually have housewives quick hot topics for you. So we have some latest news from Lisa Vanderpump. She just recently had her premiere party for season 10 of Pump Rules. And she said that she is far too busy to even consider returning to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She is a busy lady. I understand it.
Don't tell me that, Lisa.
But she hasn't ruled out a future return altogether and said never say never. However, there is some light at the end of the tunnel. She said there are about 6 reasons why she would, in fact, join the Real Housewives of Ultimate Girls Trip. Is that a joke where it's okay, I don't have to be with those bitches?
It's probably,
6 other ladies who I could get along with.
Yeah.
I only got that reference maybe until now. And I don't know if that's what she was referring to, but
yeah.
She also recently ran into Lisa Rinna in Paris, where she said the two politely ignored each other. Caitlin, I know LVP is your fave.
My girl.
She said never say never. So
that gives me hope. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I'd love to see her on Ultimate Girls Trip. That's fine.
Yeah. That's a
just back in some, because I'm not a huge, I used to be into Vanderpump,
I never watched it.
It's good. Yeah, the early seasons are good, and it is back. I feel like I should get back into it. Yeah, the early seasons are good. So I used to be a Vanderpump gal,
Okay.
but I've been off of it for a very long time. So maybe I should, so I get to see her because I do love her. But
Well, more Beverly Hills news. So Kyle Richards just revealed that she's actually 7 months sober. She does not miss alcohol at all. Production for season 13 is starting this week, but Kyle said she has no plans to drink for this upcoming season. She's recently gone through a body transformation as well. She lost a bunch of weight, and she has denied the speculation that there's a bunch of rumors out there, but denied the speculation that she used the diabetes/weight loss drug Ozempic to lose that weight.
These ladies are crazy. I've been hearing all about this new weight loss thing.
Like multiple house.
It's a drug for diabetes. Why are you putting that in your body when a diabetic doesn't even want to put that?
First time even hearing of.
No, it is all the craze right now. It is it's so insane. And some people are denying it, but some people are open about it, being yeah, of course. I want to know how you got prescribed that, by the way. You're literally just talking about how your doctor is clearly doing malpractice right now. That's not okay. Yeah. But apparently Kyle, the reason why this whole thing is happening, apparently she is having some medical issues. So that was the reason for her to choosing to stop drinking alcohol. And it's really just this body transformation has just been something I think something. Yeah.
If I gave up alcohol, you know how much weight I would lose?
I'm holding my stomach right now. This is just a wine belly that I have.
Oh my God. Yeah. So I believe her shutting down those rumors. You cut out alcohol out of your diet. Amazing.
Yeah.
People.
Seriously, again, this little wine pouch, it's not going anywhere though, people, I'll tell you that.
As a lover of just reality television across the board, this one got me kind of intrigued and excited. But Real Housewives of New Jersey alumni Danielle Staub is reportedly joining E's new Big Brother style show that brings together all the villains of reality TV. It has been dubbed, the show is called The House of Villains. Now, some of the other rumored cast members include Vanderpump Rules, Jax Taylor, Johnny Bananas from The Challenge, Heidi Montag from The Hills, Farrah Abraham from Teen Mom, and so many more.
What a crew.
The people that I knew and people I would be excited about seeing on the show.
Well, all those people suck. They're going to that group alone. They're going to kill each other.
Yeah. I you know what? I know they're calling it a Big Brother style. I've never watched Big Brother before.
I never have either.
This is definitely an interesting crew of people. So this sparks my interest.
Yeah. I never got onto the Big Brother train, but it's been around for
it's been around very long time.
It's like Survivor. It's been around for
The Amazing Race. I mean?
I did. I watched The Amazing Race for a little bit. It was good. It was good. But no, I never got into Survivor. I never got into Big Brother. I feel like we're the Bravo reality people. We never got into the
Bravo
prime
TV for me. So that's where my loyalty has.
We never got into the prime time reality shows on ABC.
No. Well, you love The Bachelor.
Well, The Bachelor, I did. I'm done with it. The Bachelor sucks. I'm done with The Bachelor. I did. I was a huge Bachelor gal for a very long time, but no, I hate that show so much. I wasted so much time.
All right, well, we're saving the best for last on the quick hot topics for the Real Housewives. This one definitely had people going a little stir crazy, but this past week, fans went wild over a Real Housewives of New Jersey reunion between Teresa Giudice and Jacqueline Laurita in Las Vegas. For those of you who don't know, Jacqueline has, I think in the last year or two, moved. She was originally from Vegas, moved back there, so she is living there now. Teresa happened to be out there, I know, for a concert, and the two ladies connected. So Jacqueline had recently defended Teresa in the press, and then Teresa came out on her podcast and, was asked about, how did you feel about Jacqueline, defending you and everything like that, which led Teresa to kind of open up and say how she was really devastated when her and Jacqueline stopped being friends, compared it to having a friend's divorce.
Right.
And then, like I said, Teresa was in Las Vegas, and she ended up sharing according to her Instagram post, with her and Jacqueline, like BFFs, smiling next to each other. Said that they shared a 5-hour lunch with Jacqueline, her husband Chris Larita, and Louie. So the four of them, got along like gangbusters. So very, very interesting there. I did watch this past week, Watch What Happened Live. Teresa and Louie were on it. It was a good episode. And Andy, of course, did bring up her getting together with Jacqueline.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. They played a game, and one of the questions was, would you ever get back in touch and become friends again with Caroline Manzo? And she was like, no, we're good. We can see where it is. We're fine. We're good. Her and Jacqueline, that friendship ending, they were very, very close. And it was sort of like a Bethany and Jill type situation for the New Jersey franchise. So to see them kind of put things behind them and, have that nice little reunion, I think fans were really happy to see that.
Yeah. And a 5-hour lunch, that's long.
And Teresa said, she's like, we had a lot to catch up on, and rightfully so. I mean, Teresa went to jail. Her husband got deported. She got divorced. She got married. She got married to Louie. There's been a lot to go over. So
yeah, I'm sure they brought an agenda with them. This is what we're going to go over. And
all right, we got to cover all these subjects. This is
all of these, and then we can do additional talking points at the end. Open discussion at the end. Oh my God. Too funny. So yeah, a lot going on, with Housewives, with football, with everything like that.
Yeah.
All right. So let's play one final game with the real football fans in New Jersey. We are going to play You Are What Your Record Is, with most football journalists giving their end of the NFL season power rankings. We play the same game from this the same time last year, where we're going to look at it a little bit differently. We will look at the teams that had the same records this season and determine which was the best, and kind of look at sometimes maybe the worst of the bunch. So we've got 9 different scenarios here. We're grouping out teams. We're calling out some people. We're ranking some people. We're doing a couple of different things in each scenario here. Mm-hmm. So, all right. So let's get it started. So we're going to start from the top, and we're going to make our way down to the bottom when it comes to records. So, which 14-3 team has a better chance of winning the Super Bowl next season? The Kansas City Chiefs or the Philadelphia Eagles?
So, bias aside, I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs. I said that there is such a pro/con situation for Philadelphia. The pro is that for a Super Bowl team, they actually have very good draft capital that they've just acquired through trades and stuff like that over the past, season or two. So, I like their draft positions that they have. However, the con is that, like we said at the beginning of the show, they lost both of their coordinators. Right. So it's kind of like they're starting over with 2 new people. I put Kansas City as Kansas City. They have Patrick Mahomes. They have Andy Reid. They're always going to contend for a Super Bowl. And then whereas in the NFC East, there's always a shakeup.
Right.
We rarely see repeat division champions in the NFC East. Oh, yeah. So I just feel like Kansas City is more of a constant.
Yeah, honestly, Katie, I couldn't agree with you more. I'm going with Kansas City as well. My main factor was the 2 coordinators exiting Philadelphia. I think that is, it was something that we mentioned it earlier with the Giants. We were on that chopping block too, and I was very nervous for it. Yeah. And Philly, some parts of their team are a little bit older and might be exiting out, but they are young and key areas with a wide receiver and a quarterback. So they are young in some aspects as well, but it's just, they made a lot of progress this season. I don't know how much, finding 2 different, what if these coordinators don't click? That's going to really take them back, I think.
Kansas City has just been consistently good since Patrick Mahomes took over. I
know. And
so,
Steve Spagnuolo is their defensive great. I love him so much. He deserves the world, honestly. Love him so much. Just put another ring on it, Spags. You're great. All right. Number 2, who was the best 13-win team? Buffalo, Minnesota, or San Francisco?
I think I would be in the minority with my pick here.
Okay.
But I'm going to go Buffalo. And I noted that
Oh,
Minnesota was, I think we'll all agree that Minnesota was sketchy.
yeah.
And I'm going to
They're
say that
always
San
sketchy.
Fran was very close to Buffalo for me. But I'm going to give that slight edge to Buffalo. But like, if you really, this is almost like a non-Katie pick because if you looked at it statistically, which I normally do, I would say that San Fran was the better team this year. But I don't know. Like I'm almost also looking at it as like, ooh, like who are you afraid to play? Like who's just like a powerhouse? And I'm gonna go Buffalo over San Fran.
I went with Buffalo too, so I definitely don't think you're going to be in the minority, and
Okay.
I think it really does play off of, yes, of course you can look at the analytics, you could look at the details there, but
Yeah.
Buffalo is just such a powerhouse this
Yeah.
season, and for the way that for them to go out, I was just so shocked. It's just
I
like a
know.
shock factor, like year after year. It's got to be in the next 2 seasons for
They
them.
have
It
to.
really has to be.
Absolutely
Like
have to.
it's there. It's
Here's for
so
the taking. Go do it.
it's at this point, like you gotta.
Mhm.
Alrighty, who was the best 12 win team? And let's just call out here. We've got 14, 13, 12, 10 win teams. Like, good for you guys this year.
Yeah, we
Everyone's
have a
winning
lot of
games.
really good teams this
A
year.
lot of really good teams. So, who was the best 12 win team? The Cincinnati Bengals or the Dallas Cowboys?
No bias. I think everybody would agree with this one. And it's like nothing against Dallas, but I just think Cincinnati ended up being one of the scariest teams down the stretch. Like
Oh, yeah.
once they made it into the play like that, into the playoffs, I was like, are we gonna see a Cincinnati Super Bowl? Or is Joe
Right.
Burrow gonna win the Super Bowl? Like that's how good they looked.
Right.
They scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, I mean the AFC Championship game. I was convinced they were going back to the Super Bowl with some of the things that we had seen. Obviously, Kansas City loves to pull it out and go and run with the W many times. But I think if you saw the Cincinnati Bengals, if you got your schedule and you played them and you saw them on your schedule for like week 1 to week 5 last year, you were probably like, "Fuck, I do not want to play Cincinnati Bengals. They just went to the Super Bowl." But then we see how the Bengals start. And you're probably like, oh, crap. I want to play them now. Let's go. But then they take that turn and you're like, they come back and be that team again. And no one wanted them at the second half of that season
No,
because
hell no.
they turned into the Bengals that we knew they should have been in weeks like 1 through 5.
Yeah,
And that just makes me a little bit more concerned going into next season because they know they're not going to start that way again next year. They're
I
not
think
going to.
Cincinnati changed from like the season before. They were such a surprise
Right.
making it to the Super Bowl. Whereas this year, although they didn't make it there, I think this was the season where it truly became like, okay, next year, Buffalo, Kansas City, Cincinnati. Like you need to be on alert and
Right.
terrified of all three. So
Yeah.
I feel like Cincinnati has now climbed the ranks to be included in the group of Kansas City and Buffalo.
All right. Which 10-7 team has the better chance of making a deep playoff run next season? Baltimore or the Los Angeles Chargers?
So I said, until proven otherwise, I don't like postseason Lamar Jackson. And I think Baltimore has the better chance to make the playoffs just based on their division. But if both teams are in the playoffs, I would pick the Chargers to go further.
Yeah, well, all right. So we're going to disagree for the first time. I'm going to go with Baltimore on this one. And it actually does stem from a healthy Lamar Jackson. I think that, if he is full, we get an entire season from him, an entire season from his surroundings. Not the whole team can't crumble. He can't do it by himself. The team can't do it without him. So if it is fully healthy start to finish, they are a dangerous team, I think. And I think they could make a run for it. And the Chargers, I want to pick the Chargers, Katie.
They're not living up to expectations.
They aren't. And it sucks. It sucks to see it. Like I'm not happy about it.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna do a little bit of a ranking here. So we're gonna power rank the 9-win teams. So we've got Detroit, Jacksonville, Miami, the Giants, Pittsburgh, and Seattle. So I did mine from last to first, but I can always go to first to last if you want. However you did yours.
I did mine opposite, but I'll go last to first.
Okay.
So last I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then I have the Seattle Seahawks. Then I have the New York Giants. I have Miami. Let's not forget that they were, to me, like midway through the season, they were this like one of the scariest teams, even like almost just as, if not scarier than Buffalo in their division.
Yeah.
Obviously, the quarterback situation with Tua and everything like that hurt them this season. Then I've got Detroit. And last but not least, riding highs in the second half of the season, the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ooh. Top one there. Interesting. Yep. All right. We are all over the map, I think. We're different. So all right. So I'll go from last to first as well.
Okay.
So I have Seattle, Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, Detroit, the Giants, and Miami coming in at number 1. So
okay.
I know. I said we were definitely mixed up there on that.
I had a feeling you would be, but
you know what? That was the most interesting team on here. Pittsburgh. I had trouble slating them. Did I freeze? I'm back. Oh, I froze for a second. Pittsburgh. I had a little trouble slating them. I feel like I kind of put them near the front, and then I pulled them back. And then I pulled them back a little bit further into that second to last spot.
During this game, I was like, wait, the Steelers won 9 games?
Like, and that's where my head was going crazy too.
But that's what told me, no, they've got to be the last one for me.
Right.
I just didn't think of them as a good team this year. And I would say the interesting team in this mix is the Detroit Lions.
Right.
They had the moral victory at the end of the season where, of course, they knocked out they did not themselves get to make it to the playoffs.
Right.
You know, they rode off into the sunset, knocking off the Green Bay Packers, squashing their playoff hopes. It was such a huge moral victory for them. I say they're interesting because if I'm going to put my statistical hat on one last time, they were fourth. They were the 4th ranked offense this year. 4.
Yeah.
The Detroit Lions. Now I'm going to blow your mind. They were the 32nd ranked defense, which I was not aware of.
You can't be that like.
But it's crazy to think of how much success they had, though, with being the worst defense in the league. They've got to clean that up. And if they can, like, maybe this is a team that could sneak into the playoffs next year.
Yeah. Oh, I've got a lot of eggs in the Detroit basket, to be honest. I got a lot of high hopes for them.
Yep.
All right. Which 8-win team has the best chance of making the playoffs next season? The Commanders, the Packers, the Patriots, or the Buccaneers?
I'm going with Green Bay.
Okay.
I said if the NFC East is hot again next season, it's going to be very difficult for Washington to make the playoffs. I said I don't think New England can hang with Buffalo and Miami in the AFC East. And Tampa Bay, of course, is going to need a new quarterback. So that's always difficult.
So I'm going to go with the Patriots on this one.
I had a feeling. I knew you were going to go with the Patriots.
I think that they kind of proved some people wrong this season. I don't think they were good. I don't think they were bad. They were kind of, we're looking at 8 wins here, you know. So I think the whole thing right now is I struggle to pick Green Bay because I really don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be in Green Bay. I don't even think Julian Love is the answer. The fact that kid,
if it's Julian Love, I switch my answer.
The fact that this kid saw playing time this year, Katie, I would look for him on the sidelines for the last year, and I was like, I don't think he's there. I don't know what Green Bay did with this kid, but he is not there. But we all know he did play, so he's alive and well. We did see him, but I don't think so I don't know. I just have this feeling that Aaron Rodgers is not a Green Bay Packer. We'll find out. He's on his weird ass retreat this week.
If he's not, then I 100% will go New England with you.
Okay, that's fair. All right. So which 7-win team has the best chance to go above 500 next year? Atlanta, Carolina, Cleveland, New Orleans, the Jets, or Tennessee?
there's such a common denominator with these teams, except for one. There are serious quarterback question marks everywhere, except for, as much as, we're not a fan of him, there's question marks everywhere except for Cleveland. As much as whatever, like Deshaun Watson is a good NFL quarterback. And I just see, I look at all of these other teams like, you guys need to figure out your quarterback situation. So I think Cleveland, throw the quarterbacks aside, I do think Cleveland is capable of being a middle of the pack team and being a 500 team. They really are. So
yeah, no, I mean, I get it for sure. Like, just putting everything aside. I went with the Tennessee Titans on this one. Again, a team
they play in a weak division, so they could also get some wins there.
They do. All right. Which 4, 5, and 6 win team will show the biggest improvement next season? We've got the Raiders, the Broncos, the Rams, the Colts, and the Cardinals.
I think this might have been like the hardest one.
This was tough.
Well, because you look at these are teams. These are all teams, by the way, in very recent memory that have been good in the league.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Or they were supposed to be good, like the Raiders, the Rams.
We've got playoff teams from the season before, like at the bottom of this list.
Like you were supposed to be good, everything like that. Yeah. So this is definitely a weird list to look at for sure.
I'm going to go with the Rams.
Okay.
I think that their Super Bowl slump was a strange one. Nobody expected them to seem that hard. And even though they only picked up 5 wins this season, I just feel like everybody can collectively agree that like they're better than a 5-win team.
Right.
Get yourself back a healthy Matthew Stafford. Certainly get yourself back a healthy Cooper Kupp. And at the very least, this team should have a 500 record, which would be, 3 or 4 more wins than their 5 that they had this season. So that's a good sizable jump.
So I'm going to go with the Colts on this one. I think we were looking at them a little bit more this season, this past season. I think, maybe new head coach, figure out the quarterback situation. I think they can be a good team. It's just, I'm gonna give it a little bit more to them there, because who knows? Maybe these teams that were supposed to be so good on this list, they kind of screwed us. So give it to maybe a lower end on it.
Okay.
All right. Which team at the bottom of the barrel will be better next year? We've got the 3-13-1 Houston Texans or the 3-14 Chicago Bears.
So I said that this is kind of tough, and I say that because I feel like it's almost the battle of who will be better, Justin Fields or the unknown early quarterback draft selection that Houston is likely to make. So let's look at the teams a little more holistically and not just at the quarterback position. I do feel like Houston showed more toughness and more promise, especially towards the end of the season. I'm going to go with Houston.
I'm going with Houston as well. And even throughout the season, I think they were showing up and they were playing look how close the Giants game was when they played Philly.
I picked Houston. I bet you I picked Houston at least 3 times this season as my upset because I just believed in them. I'm like, they're better than this record. Like they can come out and surprise people.
Yeah. Oh. Well, it's honestly interesting, and definitely go out and look at these power rankings because Katie and I have had our thoughts on them. Some of them are the one that we saw in particular was probably the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. But
and then the reason that I said to you that I thought I'd be in the minority with my pick of Buffalo over San Fran is because I believe it's Sports Illustrated, ESPN, NFL.com. They all had San Fran over the Buffalo Bills in power rankings. So I just thought is it weird that I'm picking Buffalo? But
is it me?
I just still think of Buffalo even just as scary, if not more, than your Super Bowl winning Chiefs. So
yeah, no, I don't play any of them to be honest. I'm good.
Yeah. All right. Well, it is that part in the night where we get it off our chest. Positive, negative, football, housewives, life, wine. our final get it off our chest. Caitlin,
the
take it
final.
off.
No, honestly, I know we're both gonna just do the same thing here. We're wrapping up the show, we're wrapping up this final episode. It has been, such an incredible journey. We've done so many cool things, we've met so many cool people. And I know, the cool thing is about this though, and I think, what I've loved doing this for so much is that, we get to be just two best friends, just shooting the shit, drinking wine, talking about two things that we love. Just because the Real Football Fans in New Jersey is ending does not mean that is ending. We're still going to all things Giants. We're going to Housewives and Bravo events, things like that. So I look forward to all the stuff we're going to continue to do in the future. Unfortunately, you guys don't get to hear about it. So we're just going to keep it to ourselves. But it has just been, honestly, the coolest thing ever. I feel like this thing has opened up so many opportunities for us. And, we've got to interview the coolest people. We've got to one-off meet the coolest people, like a lot that we taught, like Giants players, housewives, I feel like all the time, like people, like when we post that we're going to interview like Will Blackman or we met Luann, people talk about it for like months on end. Like, oh, you're so lucky. Like, that's so cool. Like, how did you? And it was just, us kind of doing our thing and just living it up. So just love it. But, so good. So good.
Yeah. Well, one final time, you're gonna like this. I didn't tell you I was doing this, but I pulled the receipts, I pulled the stats. I went through, this is episode 241. I went through 241 Real Football Fans of New Jersey outlines. And I decided, you know what? I want to see like what we were talking about, like what was happening in 2018 and 2020 when we were in the pandemic and everything like that. So for my get it off my chest, I do have some things that just jumped off the page in our last 5 years, the Real Football Fans of New Jersey. So starting with our first episode at your parents' house, sitting in front of their Christmas tree, December of 2017. Our outline was like, there was barely any meat to it. Like we didn't know the structure of our show yet. Like there are some things that stood the test of time that were there episode 1. Like we always played a game. Like that was always, it was always, some sort of breakdown, but it was definitely sparse. And we just kind of were like, let's just go with it.
I remember that outline, like to a T. Yeah.
So our first episode, we actually were talking about Baker Mayfield had just won the Heisman Trophy. So that puts into perspective how long ago that was. Odell was traded to the Cleveland Browns from the New York Yankees. We'll never forget like that going down and where we were. Like when
I was at the Cloverleaf.
I was at my family, and I just sat in silence in front of the television. Like,
I was literally at dinner with my family.
Yeah. We had Joe Giudice was deported to Italy. Teresa Giudice got divorced. She got engaged and she got married over the course of those 5 years. Andy Cohen announced that he was going to be a dad for the first time. He's now got 2 kids. We had Eli's retirement. Obviously, I spoke about that earlier. Lisa Vanderpump, Dorinda Medley, Bethany Frankel, Lisa Rinna, and more huge staples made their housewives departure announcements during our time on this show. Andrew Luck unexpectedly retired. I remember that was a crazy one.
Yeah.
We got thrown into 2 new housewife franchise with Salt Lake City and Dubai, one successful, maybe one not so much. But it was crazy to actually see the origination and the start of 2 new franchises. During our 100th episode party, the NFL had just discussed expanding the playoff field to 7 teams for each conference. They were also talking about adding that 17th regular season game and taking away 1 preseason game. Tom Brady left New England, won a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay, retired, came back, and retired again. So we've been through the ringer with Tom Brady.
Oh, yeah, this is too good.
We had the Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford blockbuster switcheroo between Detroit and the Rams. That was one of the biggest free agency stories that we spoke about on this show. During our 200th episode party, we wondered whether or not Aiden Hutchinson would be the number 1 overall draft pick. He was not, but he was a defensive player of the year nominee, had an unbelievable season. Jen Shah got sentenced to 6.5 years in jail, which, by the way, she starts her sentence tomorrow.
Oh, just missing it. She should have started today. It would have been like the icing on the cake. Chef's
No, the icing on the cake is finally Kansas City saved us from having to deal with a Philadelphia Super Bowl win. And over the course of 5 years, we went to tons of tailgates together. We went to 2 Giants charity softball games, a Luann cabaret show, 2 Bravo cons. We had a 100th episode party, a 200th episode party. We've met Daniel Jones, Countess Luann, Dalvin Tomlinson, Darius Slayton, Jennifer Aiden, Dorinda Medley. That is just to name a few. And we've got the pictures to prove it. And honestly, like, no matter what, this just shows me, as long as my Gmail account still lives, that, you know, one day we could be little old ladies and we'll look back on this show very fondly. And as they say in the world of housewives, we will always have the receipts. So
always
5 years of the Real Football Fans of New Jersey, and we honestly jam-packed a lot in those 5 years.
We did.
A great time. Honestly, so much fun, and
yeah,
you know, it's gonna be sad to see it go, but we have the memories, we have the receipts.
We do. Oh my God, I'm so happy you did that. I think it really just spans like 5 years. I think to some people might think is like a short like time to think like that, but just so much happened.
So much.
God, like so much. So freaking awesome. So great.
Yes.
So great. Oh, love it. All righty. Well, as we sign off for our final time, we do obviously want to leave you guys with some things to watch, to check out, everything like that. Potomac, we're going into the reunion for the Real Housewives of Potomac. So obviously that's been going on for the past couple of weeks. Sunday at 8 p.m. Obviously Sundays are open now for people, so you can definitely watch it. New Jersey is back. It's on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. And here's some NFL things that you can look forward to, because we are in a little bit of a slump now. But the Combine is only 15 days away. So start marking it down, because there's a lot of guys we got to look for as we enter the draft here. The NFL free agency period is 28 days away. And as Katie and I said earlier, it's been crazy. And I think this one will be even crazier. So be prepared. And then the draft is 71 days away. So
it goes quick. It
does.
We're gonna snap our fingers and we're going to be there. So
it does. Honestly, I remember literally last season ending this, you know, I think we took like a week or 2 off and then we went back into it. And I felt like the draft was right away. And we were like, shit, we were prepping for that show. I think I was on another show and I was like, this is so much going on in like a 4-day span. Like it comes at you fast, but a lot of stuff to look forward to, and something else to look forward to. So obviously the Real Football Fans of New Jersey is ending. I will be continuing our legacy into the future. Not really much like to give away here. I'm teasing you guys, like, honestly, at this point. I will be continuing the show, though. It's going to get a little bit of a revamp, kind of a little bit of a rebrand. I'm going to keep all of our platforms, so I want people to know that you don't have to search for us somewhere else. I'm just going to kind of revamp it into what it is. So Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, you can still like Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Don't worry. Just keep it tabbed still on your pages.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So more to come on that. And obviously, you know, I'll look to tap Katie. Katie's not going anywhere. So when I need her, she's coming back in. So don't you worry. I will bring her on and you will have Real Football Fans of New Jersey banter for the rest of your lives. If you guys want to follow our personal pages, you always can. In the real world, Katie and
I was going to say, like, honestly, if you follow us on our personal social media accounts, there will be Katie and Caitlin content forever.
For the rest of your life. In reality, this is not a reality show. Katie and I are best friends, so you will see our content for the rest of our lives. So don't worry, none of that stuff is going away. And like I said, we're going to games. We're going to all the Housewives events. So don't worry. It's all still happening. But listen, here's to 5 years. Here's to an incredible show, an incredible opportunity. I had a freaking blast. And to do something like this alongside my best friend, honestly, couldn't be happier.
Hell yeah. To the real football fans of New Jersey.
Let's go. Love you guys. Thank you so much for your support.
Love you.
And we will catch you on the social medias. We'll catch you on the footballs and the housewives. Goodbye.
Bye.
Good night.